can talk now? Okay. So, as I was saying in the previous cut,
Because we're back.
we're back and it looks different today.
Wow.
Yeah, it feels odd,
Wow.
but it feels normal at the same time.
Wow. Yeah,
This
it's the
is
same.
Great Portland Street Podcast Room. So give it a go if you ever want to start a pod. Very nice and cozy, easy to get to, lots of travel. But let's not linger around with this. We've got two guests who haven't been here before.
Dun, dun, dun.
Two very talented dancers. To my left, I have Kai.
Yo.
He's like, hey, what's happening?
And to my right, I have Amber.
Hello.
And me.
Obviously, we have Saskia. Bruh. Anyways, Amber, you want to tell us about yourself just a little bit?
Well, hi.
Hi.
Nice to be here with you guys.
Hello.
Yeah. So I'm Amber. I've known you two selves for quite a few years now, and I remember meeting you at Saskia's birthday party. So good to see you again. But yeah, I'm a professional dancer and performer, just like a few of us here today. So big up the
Getting there.
representation,
Getting
you know.
there.
Getting there.
And Kai?
Yeah, man. So my name's Kyra Jake Anthony.
Kyra Jake
I'm a
Anthony.
performer, dancer. Dance with a few companies, Boy Blue. Got a rep GSB, Gully South Blocks. If you ever into
Surprised you're
Crump.
not wearing the hat, to be
I
honest
know,
with you.
man. But I'm bigging up my other boy, Leroy Tsunami.
Love that.
He puts on battles as
I've
well.
seen it before.
Tough,
Yeah.
That's what I see.
So
Okay.
I was like, yeah.
Cute.
Gotta plug the guys.
gotta
man.
plug
I
Yeah,
respect that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
respect that.
You know what I mean?
Plug them up.
Yes.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Cute.
All right, so it's a controversial episode, as usual. Not really.
We can't start with that word. You can't start with that
don't
word.
give I don't give a damn. I'm about to start cussing.
We're on part already. Look, he's gonna get angry.
Stop.
Okay, we're on part two.
Yeah, so
Let's
this is
say-
part 2 to being mixed race. As you can see, what I said before, I don't look mixed race.
No,
As you can tell, conventionally, I do not look mixed race. But I am.
Yeah. Tell me more.
What is your background?
Yeah, well, so my mum is
What is
mixed
your
race.
background?
She looks essentially like you lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're pretty. Yeah.
She looks like
Yeah,
you lot
yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of like skin color. She would fit in right exactly with you guys.
Right.
Then my dad is black.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But somehow my features came out very. You know how if a mixed race person and a black person have a child, usually you have afro hair, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
My hair texture came out very different.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see. So that's why growing up for me, even though I look dark skinned, people get confused as to like, where are you from? And then I say, oh, I'm from Brazil and Mozambique. They're like, what? What's that? What is that?
Yeah.
And then
What is
I
that?
got so like annoyed with questions. I would just say I'm Portuguese. It's easier because my family did move over to Portugal anyway before I was born. So I spent a lot of time in Portugal too, yearly. So it's just easier for me to say Portuguese.
Yeah.
But when I would say I'm mixed race, people wouldn't believe that I'm actually mixed race.
It's always that case of like if you don't specifically look, but that's the whole thing when it comes to mixed race.
Because what is it?
It's
What is
it's a magic bag. You don't know what color you're gonna turn out. You don't know what kind of texture is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like
Even siblings,
Yeah.
all gonna look different.
Facts.
That's a
yes.
fact.
Yeah.
Facts.
All gonna look different.
It's a fact.
It's always like, oh, the melanin started running out, or when it started growing, or it started what?
That's wild.
Listen, when people say that, you're like, oh my, wow, yeah. Change of eye color, everything changes. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I got some green eyes or something. You know?
Yeah.
To be fair though, yeah, like my mum's got bright blue eyes, and here we are. Yeah.
Yeah, just
I
normal.
love mine, but
the brown eye gene is very, very strong. So when you strong. So when you do meet someone who's mixed race with, like I have a friend who is also a dancer. They're mixed race and they have beautiful green eyes. And I'm like, that's
Damn.
rude. That's really rude. That's really
Why you
rude.
cheating?
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're talking about like growing up, what obviously so me and yes. So me and Kevin grew up, obviously we went to primary school together. And we grew up in Northwest London. So I feel like obviously we're all in the UK, but the experiences around the UK are gonna be a lot different in terms of being mixed race. Where did you grew up in?
I grew up in Oxford.
In Oxford, and
I grew up near Cambridge.
Cambridge. So very different from
Damn.
Northwest London, first of all.
Yeah, serious.
So I'd say, yeah, I'd say, what was it like being in school as a mixed race person? Like, did you feel like you were one of the only ones? Did you feel special? Did you feel like there was loads of mixed race people? Because where we were, like, it was normal for us. Like, we were surrounded, I think we hardly had white people. That there was, like, we were surrounded, like, by people of color from all different races, like, and
100%.
it didn't feel, I don't think I noticed
No.
a difference because of where I was. But do you feel like it was different for you guys being out of London?
For me, not really. Oxford is quite multi-diverse.
Yeah.
Like, most of my friends I grew up with are either mixed race or black. Not to say I ain't got any white friends.
Just put it
Disclaimer.
Not to say I ain't got any white friends. I got a couple of white friends. Yeah. But yeah, it was very like multi-diverse. And the estate I grew up in was called Blackbird Leys, and that's where a lot of the black people like reside.
Yeah.
Is that the actual name of the blog as
that
well?
was-
You know,
that's the
it
name
threw
of
me
it,
off when he
yeah.
first told me. When he first ever told me, I was like, blah, blah.
Blackbird Leys.
He had to say it
that's where
real
the black
slow.
people were,
'cause-
man.
No, but say it quick.
Blackbird Leys.
When he said it quick, you're like, blah, blah. What?
BBL.
Yes, yeah.
But that's what he used to say.
Ah,
yeah.
that's funny.
Black
Yeah, so it was
birdies.
very like multi-diverse. Even like my mum, obviously mum's white, my dad's black, textbook Lai, get me, my dad's from the Caribbean. But yeah, like even like my mum's friends and that, they were all, not all of them were black, but like majority of them like black. Kind of more Caribbean than anything else. We had a lot of like Asian community. There's a big Asian community in Oxford as well. So yeah, man.
Was your school in that area, or did you have to
Yeah,
go
no,
out?
my school was in the area. It was about 10 minutes
So
away.
it's kind of similar
So it was-
diversity.
yeah.
So you always felt included in everything. You didn't feel like you
Yeah,
were
I didn't
out of
really. No,
place or
not
whatever.
really. Not really.
That's fortunate.
Yeah,
I'm
trust
very
me.
happy for you guys. It's not for
I had a
me.
feeling.
Go on, here we go.
So when you was like, did you feel like you was the only one? No, I was,
Was
the only one.
Right,
Right.
okay.
So I grew up just like 20 minutes outside Cambridge in a random place called Suffolk. So, yeah.
He said, shock.
Yeah, so lowdown is like I was born in the Cayman Islands. That's where I'm from originally. Big up Cayman, big up Georgetown.
It's actually,
And-
it's actually so
Georgetown,
beautiful. So sorry.
Georgetown, thank you very much. Yeah, so my mum's white, textbook, but she lived in the Cayman Islands for like 10 years, and then she met my dad, and then we came back here. And my mum's, because I grew up with a single mum, so my mum's responsibility first and foremost was always like, make sure there's a roof overhead, food on the table, clothes on the back. So I will always respect my mum for wanting to bring me back to, and not really focusing on where specifically we was. But yeah, in primary school, if you look at our year photos, you knew where I was. Straight away.
Because
I
it
was the
spot
only,
you out.
I was the only mixed race kid because we did primary school, secondary school, upper school. So primary, I was the only person of color. But I always had that feeling of like something's not right, but I didn't know what it was because
Right.
there was no representation at all.
Do you know what's so funny? When you say that, I was speaking to somebody who's also like textbook mixed race, white mom, black dad. And now we've got that going on. She was saying that, like, I'm not gonna say her name, but like, let's say her name's. Let's just go with my name. Let's call her Saskia.
Go on then.
Let's go.
Okay.
Why not?
Saskia 2.0.
So basically, so she was in the same situation, and she was at school, and she was the only person of color. So to them, she was black.
Yeah.
Like nothing else. She wasn't mixed race. She was black.
Oh,
She
okay,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
black girl. And I would say she's like on the darker side, like towards my skin tone. And at primary school, she would get called Black Saskia.
right.
That was her.
Right.
That was her name.
You know what? I hear it.
Oh,
Like, cause that's who she was.
right.
But then as she got older and she went to college, obviously you're now getting people from different areas coming in, and she would call herself Black Saskia because
Yeah.
that's what she's always known herself as in her community. And then suddenly everyone's like, "You're not black."
Damn. So she grew up with a whole
That's what I'm saying. You grow up with this whole stigma of being the black person, and then suddenly you're in another environment
you're no longer
and you're
that.
not black.
damn.
Because you're mixed race. So it's like a whole like transition from being young. I think as you get older, it changes so much. Because I'd say even for me, not knowing when we were younger that anything was different. And then as we get older, we're here having this conversation.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's always such a change. So did you feel like it changed as you got older, or did you like...
I think there was a realization
Yeah.
to like when I realized I was mixed race. Like my mum's side of the family is all white.
What age did that happen? Do you know roughly?
You know what? I think it kind of happened when I think I was in like the end of primary school, start of like
coming to
secondary
school.
where like you're kind of
Yeah,
finding
coming
your
into
feet.
teenage
Yeah,
kind of-
yeah.
When
kind
everyone
of
starts
like,
having an opinion.
Yeah, yeah. And it was my cousins really. Like they used to. Sounds a bit mad, but they used to take the piss and say that man was adopted and that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I can see it still, yeah.
they're family in it. It's my cousins.
Yeah.
Like, I love them and that. But yeah, when I look back on it, I think, rah, that's actually kind of like slightly a bit of trauma right there, you know,
Yeah.
a bit of PTSD. But it's all right, man. I knew I wasn't adopted because I knew where my dad was, even though he wasn't in sight, but he was there. You know that one's there. So he was there. He was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's when I kind of realized, and I think I had a conversation with my mum, and I was like, "Why am I darker than you?" And then I can't really remember the conversation, how the
Yeah,
conversation went really, but like my mum kind of just broke down like, "Your dad's black, you get me, I'm white." So then she was describing melanin and all of the pigmentation and all of them type of thing there.
Did you ever get called an alien?
An alien.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
called many
a things.
Like as soon as we went to middle school, as soon as we hit middle school, right? There were more of us,
Yeah.
but we were 100% the minority, black and mixed race.
For sure, yeah.
And I still to this day, I'll name all of them. I know all of them because and their brothers and sisters from the years
Right.
above and stuff because
Yeah.
that's just how little of us there were. But
Yeah.
even within that community, which a lot of us try to hold on to, even within that, because there was only us, it was still internal battles between us. Because I remember having friends that were mixed race and would obviously, because I'm quite light skinned, and they used to take the piss out of me and be like, "You can't even call yourself mixed race. Look how light you are." And I was like, "Well, that is the trauma that got to me as a child." Because I was like, "Yes, because no, there are white girls around here that are darker than me." And
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Yes, I
Yeah.
understand
Trust
that.
me.
I'm sorry, the winter was
I get
harsh
it.
on me.
I get it.
Vitamin D was just not happening." So yes,
Yeah.
I do get quite
Yeah.
pale, but but to try and say, "Oh, you can only be mixed race based or a person of color based on how tanned or skin," that's not
Yeah.
me. I now know that is not the sitch, and it took me a long time to get out of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the longest time, the internal, what's the word?
Struggle?
The internal struggle was
Yeah.
real. Yeah, 100%. It
It's-
was not nice.
It's so funny though, because you're like, I feel like I didn't get to that point of being like, oh, this realization until other people made me realize it. Because for me, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have even.
Nah.
I didn't clock
And I think as
anything.
well, like when you look at kids now, you're like, okay, kids learn from their parents, and they, especially when it comes to like race and all these kind of things. Like my mum was never like, she never saw anyone for a color, so like it never came through me. So then when everyone else was like, oh yeah, you're an alien, you're confused. What do you mean I'm confused?
I'm not confused.
What do you mean I'm confused? But then eventually you're like, wait, am I confused?
Yeah, you start questioning
Yeah,
yourself.
because then I'm
Yeah.
like, wait. Then I'm starting to say, okay, yeah, but like, especially because like my parents are not both British. So my mum's British and my dad's Jamaican, like fresh. Like man's not trying to be British.
Yeah.
So
Same.
like, like there's nothing about him that's British at all. He's not trying. He doesn't want it. He's not trying. Do you know what I
None of
mean?
his
Like,
business. Never.
and I think when people saw my parents together, they were so different. They were like, you have to be confused. And it's like,
Nah, you can be from two different cultures and still understand
right.
it both.
And this
both
is the
equally.
thing, because I did. But when other people are saying those things to you, the
You
more and more and
mentally,
more,
yeah.
you're like, wait a minute. And then you start questioning, am I confused? Am I confused? And that went on for years.
Yeah.
Because you're then overthinking what I do know.
Yeah.
power of other people's words are just so crazy, and then it's like, but hold on, you're not even in my situation, so how are you?
Why-
Why?
yeah.
are
And
you
no one's really
Why-
ever
yeah.
gonna be,
Why
because
do you have
all of
value in
them,
this?
even
Yeah.
being mixed race, all of them are so different.
It's true. You know what though? Growing up, even though my mum's mixed race, yeah, I didn't actually understand what mixed race was.
Yeah.
Because my granddad, her dad, had died way before I was born. So only my grandma was alive, and my grandma was completely black, 100% African black. Yeah. So me, especially growing up the way where me and Saskia grew up, I only ever saw her and other people who look like her as black, as well as I do myself.
Yeah.
Then I, at one point, made a friend. She was a family friend, and she's mixed race. Her mum is white. And I remember the first time I met her mum, I was so confused.
How was this your mum?
I was confused.
Wait a minute.
Because my
What's going on here?
my mum's mum is black, but your mum is white, but you look like my
Yeah.
mum.
Have we done this?
Like, what? How does this work? And then eventually I started understanding, obviously, what being mixed race is.
Yeah.
And that's just two different
Yeah, there's
skin colors
different.
coming together, cultures or whatever.
Was it different? Different types of mixed race as well. And it like
There is.
one of my brethrens, his mum's mixed race and his dad's black.
Okay, so,
So he
yeah.
come out like he looks black.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then like I can remember when I met his nan, I was like, bro, you have a white nan.
It's confusing,
I was
isn't it?
like, bro, since when? Like, since when
What's
did you have
going
a
on?
What is
white nan?
happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just thought that he was just black.
Yeah.
And then like
Yeah.
one of my other brethrens, who's more like fair skin, he's got like green eyes. Like he looked like a white boy, innit?
Yeah.
And then he was like, "No, my dad's mixed race." I was like, "Damn, but his mom's white." So I was like,
What's going on?
"So wait, so we're all mixed race, but we're all three completely different
Yeah,
shades."
it's
Yeah.
a spectrum.
It's
know-
actually
Whole
mad.
spectrum.
Do you know what? Like, absolutely blew my mind the other day. You're gonna have to help me on this if you watch football. Does he play for Chelsea?
Cole Palmer.
Cole
yeah,
Palmer.
I had a
Someone
feeling.
told me he was mixed race. I
He's
was
mixed
like,
race, yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah,
And then I looked at like a photo with his parents when he was signing a contract or something. I was like, oh,
Yeah, his
okay.
But it's like,
his one. I think his grandparents are Caribbean. I don't know what
Yeah.
Caribbean island they're from,
Yeah.
but yeah.
yeah,
But he looks like a white boy.
completely. I was just as shocked
I
as you.
was shook.
Trust me.
Yeah, because
Shooketh.
it was that viral video when he's like
And he comes in singing
with
the
the foot,
Vibes
with the
Cartel.
foot, yeah. The photo of him being with Vibes Cartel as well is jokes.
He's with Vibes.
Have you not seen that photo?
No.
Cole Palmer sat there with Vibes Cartel. He looks awkward though. He looks awkward.
Of course he does.
I'd
Can't
be
lie.
awkward.
He looks
Yeah,
awkward.
If
Same.
I was sitting next to
It's a
Vibes
Vibes
Cartel,
Cartel.
I'd be awkward. So I don't blame him for being awkward.
enough.
We gotta
Do
get
you
him on
know
the pod
still
one
be
day.
sitting?
He's gonna be here one day.
No, no, no.
Trust me, man. It'll be funny.
Manifest.
I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I'm not coming.
I'm not-
I'm not coming. I'm not coming.
bring Vaughan for that one.
No, I'm not coming. Go on.
No, I was gonna say. So the other day, I had an experience. Actually, it was yesterday. I was going to basketball, right? I was going with two friends who were black. So this is not exactly in the mixed race thing, but it's a racial thing. So we were going over to basketball. We get to this sports center, and normally when we go, we get there a bit early, and it's fine. We could just walk in. But there was this new guy at the desk. So we walk in. He said, "Oh, you guys here for basketball?" Bear in mind, how do you know we're here for basketball? Because this is a sports center.
You damn know. I'm
How do you know we're
here.
here for basketball?
They said, yeah, black man can jump. Black man can jump.
So like, yeah. He goes, "Oh, you're a bit early." So let's say, I think it was like, session's supposed to start 1:30. We get there at 12 past 1, right? So 1:12. He says, "Yeah, you're a bit early. Can you just wait out here for a bit?" All right, cool, whatever. So we wait in. Not even, maybe 2.5 minutes later, the people who booked the session, who are completely white, walk in. They're, "Yeah, we're here for basketball." "Oh, okay. He gets up, goes to sports hall, unlocks, brings the hoops down, unlocks everything. And the three of us just looked at each other and we're like, "Rah, so what's the difference?"
You got wait.
We're still really early, but the people who don't look like us came in and you just open up the court for them. And then at the end, he's like, "Oh, have a great day, guys. Hope you have a..." I was like, "Rah." I had to tell my Regin, you know what? I don't want to cause any drama, so I'm not even going to say anything to this guy. He might not even have meant it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way it came across, because it wasn't even 5 minutes later they came in.
Yeah.
And we were all still very early for the 1:30 session.
Do you know what? Yeah, it kind of draws me to a question that kind of links to being mixed race, and it's like, do you guys feel that like you get some kind of privilege in terms of those situations with being mixed race or being lighter. Because I feel like a lot of times in those scenarios, for me personally, I feel like I do get privilege in terms of when people are judging me or when they're looking at me.
Yeah.
Like even to be I'm pretty dark for being mixed race in terms of the spectrum. Because a lot of people look at me and don't even think I'm mixed race.
I'm not even gonna say the
I know
comment
you're not
there.
gonna say it. I know you're not gonna say it, but we've had people say something already. But like people do look at me and like even get shocked when they see my mum. And it's like, okay, I'm still on the darker side, but I still feel like I get some kind of privilege in certain scenarios because I am lighter. Do you feel like
Yeah,
you
I
do
can,
in
I can remember
ways?
having a conversation with one of my boys from uni, and I can remember just talking to him just about like privilege, really. And he was saying, he basically said, "You're more privileged than I am because you're lighter than me."
Right.
And he was like, and then I didn't understand that, but I was like, because I've still had certain racial profiling and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
different experiences and that I've been through. So I was kind of arguing like, nah, bro, like. It's kind of like
It's the same.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then he was like, nah, but I'm darker than you, so it's different.
different.
And then I was like, it didn't really clock then. And then when I started like, you know, going out in public and that, like with him a lot more and like different places, I'm like, bro, these men are looking at you different, fam. They're not looking at me like that. But they're looking at you more sideways than me. But obviously his stature was like massive and, you know, big guy and that.
He's a big
Do you know
guy.
what I mean? But even that, well, like, I don't even think that really makes a big part. And I was talking to one of my boys actually, yeah. I almost got rattled, fam. When I mean I had to bite my tongue a lot, and I was like, yeah, I almost got rattled. Because we were having a conversation about like, just saying like, if you see like a group of black guys walking down the street, that's intimidating more so than a group of white people going down the street.
Right.
And he was saying that he'd be more scared seeing a group of black
guys,
people.
right.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of just questioning like, okay, so why do you think like that? Because most of your friends are black.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you see a group of black guys in the street or down the alley, like what makes them
Where did your
more
friend grow up?
intimidating? Same, round the corner from me.
So in Oxford as
yeah,
well?
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
like we had a family who were Sudanese.
Yeah.
Family, I think they were from, there was an Asian family. I think they were from Bangladesh. I'm not too sure. And then like, round the corner, Jamaican family, and then you have an African family.
So it's literally just
So it was
Yeah.
very
cultural,
multi-diverse,
yeah.
like a cultural place. So it's like, but I just think because I've traveled and I've gone to different places through dance and seeing different things from a different light, I kind of understand the thought process he has, because you know them people who watch news bears, the news and the stereotypical type of thing, and they don't really travel too much. So it's like, you have to kind of experience the world to see it for what it is, rather than getting influenced by social media or the news and X, Y, and Z. But it was an interesting conversation, because I was like, but why do you find? Is it because, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a
Yeah, I mean, I can add to that, and before we get to obviously your part, growing up in London, where we've grown up, the unfortunate part that we experience is a lot of the crimes that happen to us, unfortunately, are from us.
yeah.
That's why some people within our culture will have a sense of fear towards our own people, because we make up a lot of the percentage within our small communities. It's always us doing it to each other, which doesn't help at all. If, unfortunately, if we could obviously minimize the amount of things that happen between us as a people, I do think that level of fear would decrease.
Yeah.
And then it obviously doesn't help with movies now are different, but movies before, a lot of the people
my
were
gosh. Even the movies we used to watch
Yeah.
at school.
the saviors were
Yeah.
saviors were obviously and people that don't look like us.
Yeah.
And then things like kidulthood, adulthood, etc.
That we watched
were
at
people that
school.
look like us.
That we
And
watched at school.
Yeah,
in class.
we're watching. Yeah, and those are great movies. I'm not cussing them, but the main cast within that are people that look like us, and they're doing things that, unfortunately, happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it adds to that. Obviously, I never grew up in Oxford, so I don't know what it was like for him. He could just be watching a lot of media, like you say. And just, it became a thing. But definitely growing up in it, I mean, I didn't really have that fear, but I could see why someone else would have had that fear, for sure.
Yeah, institutionalized racism and subliminal racism within yourself is so very, it's wild, especially with people that you consider friends that you grew up around the corner from you. And I've had to have a lot of conversations with my friends about, and also with my friends who are black, because I fully understand that colorism is a thing. And to deny that is rubbish.
Yeah.
Like, it is. We've seen it. I've seen it with my friends, and I've seen it, and even though I will never disvalue the stuff that I've been through in terms of racism, because it's, for me, I've had the racism happen on both sides. Like, I've been called the N-word, and I've been called a dirty half caste by people within the black community. So it's happened.
Mad.
It's
both
happened.
ways,
It goes both ways, but I will never not say your feelings aren't valid, because we're seeing it day to day. And also, I did a series recently, and my friend's boyfriend came over. He was white, and I was trying to describe what the show was about and how it was actually. It was all based in South London. I loved it. Like, there was filming outside Bagel King, me chilling. That's great. It was more being more aware about the community, and also with sickle cell and so on and so forth. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was, another series on black crime, I guess. I was like, you've not even watched it, Darren. You just see what you want to see, and you're already putting your 2 cents in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, colorism is strife, and it really, it's sad.
It's so funny you say that, though, because I had so many people say that, because I know what you're talking about. But like, I've seen, like, I've also had people, because even I was like, yeah, you got to watch this thing, you got to watch this series, like, and they're like, oh yeah, but is it just gonna be like, you know,
You know.
They don't even have to finish it. I'm like, no, I literally had to go into that. No, like, there's deeper meanings to for them to be able to be like, okay, I'll give it a go.
But even so, like, yes, there's situations that happen in within our community and culture that you know, has made a lot of success on TVs and films and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's showing what people haven't really either seen, or if they have seen, it's always been portrayed by the media and the news in the worst way. Like, I remember going to the George Floyd protests way back when, during lockdown, and it was a peaceful protest, 95% of the protest, but at the end, there was just one small group of people that, you know, it kind of
blew up.
It went over. It got too much. By the time I got back home to Suffolk, my auntie and my mum were calling me like, I've just seen the news. What is going on? I can't believe you went to that protest. Everyone's they're hitting the horses. I was like, whoa.
There was 5 people.
It was 5. It literally
Being naughty.
was 5 people, 5 minutes. But you want to take that say that was the entire
Paints
experience.
the narrative of the experience. Yeah.
But that's the same thing about, like, how people can be swayed by what they see, because they will just take the minimal part and put it, and then it becomes a bigger picture.
But like with those movies that you talk about, or shows, when I heard it's another black on black crime thing, I do hate when they keep bringing out those kind of shows.
Same.
Because it really...
Can we not do something different?
Yeah, because that's why I like Supercell. I haven't watched it yet, but I like that it was a different concept on people that look like us, people that sound like us, grew up like us, or some of us.
Doing something cool.
But they're doing something different. It's all right. But yeah, it really annoys me when I see another hood story. When it's the same thing of like 2 friends who now all of a sudden beefing each other. Now one gets stabbed. It's like, I don't need to see this all the time, because it's not really a reality. It obviously does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's not the main thing that happens.
It's not a reality as much as the news portrays.
Yes.
Because even like I started like reading Akala's book and watching a lot of like his stuff. Because even when the whole BLM movement happened and the George Floyd movement happened, my mum gave me the book to be like, I've read this book. So read this because there's some interesting factors in there. And then there was one thing what Akala was saying is that black on black crime, like, it doesn't exist. Like, it actually, the term is very, I would say, is very annoying because no one says white on white crime.
Yeah,
And then if you look at
it's true.
go down the, you know, the numbers and the charts and the statistics, like the most like deprived areas or the most violence is like up north, like in Liverpool or something.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
So
so
it's
bad.
like when you hear all of these things what come out of London, that's only a small percentage.
Yeah.
But in these other places like Liverpool and when you
yeah.
go further up north and that, bro, the crime and the scale of the crime as well is crazy.
Yeah, no, it's mad.
Like
It's
here,
mad.
I think here you hear about knife crime because I would say people do get stabbed more regularly, but it's not. I wouldn't say like it's hard to be like, oh yeah, it's not life threatening. Obviously, getting stabbed and where you get stabbed is life threatening. But sometimes, like I've known people and got family members who have been stabbed, like just like stabbed on their arm or something like that. But then if that makes the news or whatever, or it gets put on the thing, that's another
I see what you
stabbing.
mean.
That's
Yeah,
another
yeah,
stabbing.
yeah.
That's another
I
stabbing.
get what you mean.
Yeah.
And everyone just thinks the stabbings, people are just dying from these stabbings. But
It's because they portray it that way.
yeah.
But yeah, that's like obviously we didn't grow up with social media. It only really
Yeah.
came out about 10 years ago properly.
Very grateful
Yeah.
I didn't grow
Yeah.
up with social media
Yeah.
like
Oh
how
my
it is
God.
now.
So
Could
just
you
go around to
imagine
your friends and knock on
growing
the
up-
door.
That's what I'm saying.
Yo, is so and so in? Nah, they're not here. You know that football trainer. Okay, when they be back?
Yeah.
And then you got
Like,
bruv,
listen, you had to knock on people's doors.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
That's
man.
kind of crazy.
That was
true.
it.
Now I think about it now, yeah.
Who's
No,
coming to
who's,
my
who's
house?
knocking on my
Who's
door?
knocking on my door?
Yeah,
No
bro.
one's knocking on my door. No one's knocking. Don't knock on my door. They knock on my door.
And sometimes you be, this guy again.
I'll be like, Mum, I'm not home. I'm not home.
legit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think looking back, I'm like, okay, do you think it would be different? Obviously, it would be different growing up with social media, but growing up with social media and being mixed race, because in today's society, in terms of being mixed race and how it's portrayed and how people talk about it,
How everyone wants to be mixed
and
race
how
as well.
everybody wants to be mixed race and whatever this storyline is, even for us as performers, like as having social media when we were younger and doing what we do now, do you think it would have changed the way we think about the industry that we're in? Or like it would have taken us a different way? Because even for me, I know like there was the whole being like a mixed race girl in a music video was such a big thing.
Yeah.
And there was a point where it was like, you can't have a music video without a mixed race girl in it.
I still think that's the
Yeah,
situation.
it's
I
still a
ain't
thing
gonna
now.
lie. It's
It was still a thing
that.
now. But I remember it being like such a big topic.
Yeah.
It's definitely still happening.
Yeah.
But like, do you think it would have changed anything for us having it earlier in terms of being mixed race
I'd have been
and
famous.
do it?
I'd have been booked.
Thank you.
Booked and
I would have
blessed.
been booked from 12
yeah.
with my hair, my curly afro hair,
Yeah.
my little
Yeah.
Little
two-step.
Dougie, yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's a
Dancing
fact.
to Chris Breezy and that. Yeah.
That's a fact.
What?
Yeah. I actually think it's so funny now because I'm like, when we was younger, I look back at like, I had mixed race friends as well. I would be like, oh my God, like I had someone I grew up with had locks, but like he was the only one.
Yeah.
He was the only one back then that had locks.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, wow, if we had social media now, you'd be the only
Blown
one
up.
still. And then I had another mixed race friend who had freckles. Only one. And like, it's funny now we're getting older and you see like modeling agencies and stuff like this.
Oh, that
I've
is
tried
straight on the books.
straight on the books.
books.
Like people say to me all the
Gorgeous.
time, oh, like, why are you not modeling? I'm like, because I'm a regular mixed race
Get
person.
it, yeah.
That's why I'm not modeling. But like
The tears have,
I
like,
don't. Yeah,
risen,
the tears
yeah.
have advanced. Like I don't have freckles. I don't have one blue eye.
different coloured
I don't
hair.
have, do you know what I mean?
If you have the
Like,
two different coloured eyes, listen, you're done. You're sorted.
it's like
Sorted.
For life.
from being
Sorted.
mixed race when I was 5 to being mixed race now.
Yeah. Big difference.
I
Massive.
feel like it's so different.
It's the craziest thing is everything that I used to subconsciously not like about myself, only because at that point in time there was no one that looked
the
like me
only
to
one.
look
Yes.
up to
Yeah.
be like,
Yes.
this is beautiful. This is, my hair. I had no idea.
Nothing.
Mum, I love you, but no.
Yeah, nothing.
There was no one to teach me apart from this one woman, God rest her soul. She's with us up there now.
Mm-hmm.
But she's from Brum and her son is a dancer.
Yeah.
You will actually know him as well. But
Mm-hmm.
she moved to my ends for a few years and she was a braider and she was the first person to braid my hair and it was the most beautiful experience ever. And all of that stuff that trying to understand and love the features on my skin. Now I remember. Well, do you remember the Bad Boys Jessie? No, what's her name from Little Mix when she did that Bad Boys music video?
Yes.
And that whole controversy, because with the same with the Jenners and all that
Yes.
stuff.
She had braids in it.
And then
I feel
it
like I
just
remember this, but
she just very much was trying for me
to look different.
She was trying to come across as mixed race,
Right,
with the same as the Jenners and all that stuff, and it's like. It's like, oh, it's annoying because I'm like, no one liked this back then, but now everyone wants to be
Everyone wants to be it now.
Everyone wants my hair.
So,
now.
and
Damn it. I only just understood how
You
to
didn't have to
do
go
it.
through
Yeah.
You didn't have to go through the tough shit.
Yeah.
You just now get to experience the good shit.
Yeah. Oh, they love to capitalize.
That's actually
and
mad.
it's true.
Yeah.
Just like,
That's why I think like like obviously there are struggles for everybody, and I think the mixed race struggles have been so like put in a box that no one can talk about because they don't matter to other people, or they're not as bad, or this and that. But like I feel like that's like I always like somebody asked me, one of my friends was having a conversation, was like, oh, do you feel like, obviously with my white family and with my black family, what's your feelings when you're in both sides? Like, do you feel too black for one and too white for the other? Or do you feel like you're fine on both sides? Or does it change? Does it vary depending who it is? For me, I'm like, yo, it's weird. It's weird being in both sides because you're like, again, I literally like, okay, am I too white to be here? Or am I too black to be here? Because it's like an inner thought right at the back.
Yeah.
Like, I feel comfortable with my family regardless, but you still always have that
People
thought.
are going to look at you and make you
Yeah.
question
It's
it.
there.
Yeah, you have to. Even now, like when we go to auditions and stuff, I was saying this before, like I went to an audition that was for a mixed race girl. I have never walked in the room with so many mixed race people in one place. I was confused. I was confused. And I was like,
Is this the audition?
yeah. I was like so strange. But then I auditioned for other things and I'm like, I am the black token person in this
It's
room.
one or the other.
Yeah,
It's really
it's one
mad.
end or the other. And what do you guys feel like when it's like family or like workspaces?
For me, I can remember noticing it when I was younger. Like I used to say to my mum, I'm like, Mum, we go to like family weddings and stuff.
Yes. What's going on?
Mum, like,
Why?
it's like, am I the only black person here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a black person will walk in, and guess what? I know them. I'm like, nah, this is wild. But then I do hear it as well, because sometimes I've gone to like a lot of like family events on my dad's side, and everyone's black.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you feel more comfortable there though?
Sometimes I feel like it's a hit and miss. Because I had long hair growing up, and I just look young.
Yeah.
So all of
wish we could
like
throw in a picture,
my
but we can't.
aunties and like my auntie's friends and that, there's always like pretty boy.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I always had that kind of stigma anyway, and obviously I danced and stuff, and they were like, yeah, come, like it was very welcoming. Like I've got a tattoo actually here where I've got like a heart, and one's like not white, but it's like white and then black round the
Okay, I
outside
see, yeah.
to show the two different types of love. Because I do think that there's, white people love a different way and black people love a different way as well.
Yeah.
I think that as well.
And like, I've looked at similarities. Like we both, obviously everyone loves food, innit? But like they love food. So when I go around to like my nan's house, like she's always making sure that have you eaten, and da 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 da
On
and all
your
of this.
black side?
No, this is on my mum's side.
Your mum's
My
side,
mum's
okay.
side. She's Scottish, and then on my dad's side as well, my nan's like, have you eaten?
Yeah.
So there's like,
They're the same in that sense.
it's like
They don't
it's
treat
the
you any
same.
different.
They don't treat you
Yeah.
any different. But on my nan's on my dad's side, my nan would be like, have you washed up the dishes? On my mum's side, my nan would be like, don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
You know? So there's like two
Okay, I
different.
see.
I mean, my nan still was like, yeah, make sure you clean up your stuff, innit? because she was Scottish. Otherwise, she chased me with a slipper.
Yeah. See, that's a similarity.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a similarity
Beats.
there. But yeah, that's what I've kind of noticed, like, especially when I go to like funerals or like weddings and parties and stuff. That's when I would notice the difference and the change.
What about you?
Well, it was.
Well, where do I start?
Where do I start? Again, so on my mum's side of the family, I was for the longest time the only mixed race child in the entire family. Like, there was
I think I still am.
Are you?
I think so. On my mum's side, yeah.
Yeah,
I still am.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm the only mixed race on my mum's side, and I'm the only grandson on my dad's side.
So like,
I was made to stand out.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't had a choice. We ain't had a choice. But like on my mum's side now, there's more mixed race children, which I'm very proud and grateful for. And like with all my cousins, I always say like, you have someone, because I didn't grow up with that situation. But growing up on the white side of the family, there was a love. Of course there was. Yeah. And they didn't want to see colour, but I ain't gonna lie. Like back in the day,
you have to.
Back in the day with my grandparents, they weren't exactly the greatest when mum brought home.
Didn't all our mums.
Black guy. Black guy and a black
The black
child.
man came first. Oh, God. Man weren't even English.
Listen, this was way back when. And I remember my grandma said to my mum, she was like, "Okay, you can date him, just don't marry him and don't have kids with him."
Jeez.
So, and then God rest her soul, she passed away with 6 or 7 mixed race grandchildren. So, you know,
the growth was there.
The growth was there. The growth was very much there.
But you were first.
Yeah, I was. She was the OG. But on my dad's side, I was scared, because not scared, but I was nervous, because I went back over when I was like 6 or 7, and of course we all looked the same, and it was beautiful. There was no difference there, but in terms of cultural,
very different.
I embraced it, but it took me a while, because I didn't have a clue. And like, it was, now being an adult, I personally feel way more comfortable expressing the Caribbean culture. Yeah. And like, my mum always says to me, even though there was a lot of things she couldn't teach me, she'll always say from young, she was like, "You're Caymanian first, you're Caymanian always, and don't anyone ever tell you different." Yeah. Even when there was, you know, people at school being like, "You're too light to even call yourself Caribbean. Get lost." I was like, I was born there. Where were you born? Down the road. Go away. That doesn't even matter. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you was born. Like, that's my culture. Yeah. That's my heritage. That's my DNA. Yeah. But cultural wise, Do you know what?
I've got one last question about that, because that's something that I came across. Sorry, Jazz, it's gonna be a minute. Something that came up like actually not that long ago was the whole cultural differences. Because I said to my friend, I said, "Do you know what's funny that I actually realized not too long ago was like, I get a weird sense of, I wouldn't say it's fear, but it's an overthinking when I go to somebody's house. And it depends whether that person is black or white. And because I've grown up I know my mum's house and I know my dad's house, and I know how they do things in my mum's house and how they do things in my dad's house. What they've learned from a white culture and what they've learned from a black culture. And I have both. So sometimes now when I go to somebody's house, I'm like, do I do it the black way or do I do it the white way? Or will they look at me funny if I wash, like black people and white people wash up differently.
Even when it comes to chicken.
They wash up differently.
You wash your chicken.
The way the way they wash their dishes is different. So now, like, it's not a fear, but like it's a subconscious thought. I'm like, okay, I'm going to my black friend's house. I can't wash up like my mum. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a weird, it's a weird process that I only recently thought about. And I was like, that's why when I was younger, like, I don't do it now, but when I was younger, I would have this weird, like, what do I do in this house? Because I have so many different ways of doing things from so many different people. It's like, which one do I do? Because there isn't a, there isn't a norm for me. Yeah. Like, I feel like if I had two white parents, the norm would be the white way of doing it. But because there's two norms, it's like, how do you choose
Yeah.
subconsciously what you're gonna do. Obviously, we all have our own ways of doing things. Like as an adult now, I know
Yeah,
what
of
I'm
course.
doing.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, going to somebody's house, obviously they don't do sleepovers anymore. But when we were younger, and we used to have those things, and we used to go play and all them kind of things. Like even other kids, or like
sleeping.
or like sleeping when I'm younger, like going to my friend's house and they're sleeping with a do-rag on and I'm not, and they're like, "Where's your do-rag?" I'm like,
Do that. For
what?
what?
Me, I would have
For
been
what?
like, what's a
for my
do-rag?
that's what I'm saying. When I'm younger, for my
head's gonna
hair,
get
like I'm hot, bruv. What do you mean? But like when I slept at my white friend's house and I put my do-rag on, they'd be like, "What's that?" And then you're like, "Wait,
Your head
what's
not gonna
going
get
on? What's going on?" But like that's what I mean. Like the difference between going to somebody's house is a whole thing in your head. I don't know if you ever thought that or ever even think about it now. If that's a new thing that you've heard of, like any. Do you think that's normal? Nothing's normal.
No, I hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It depends.
I hear it.
I only figured this out a few years ago. Just a thought.
Not
Yeah.
physically, but like
Yeah.
mentally. Like if I'm around, and I think a lot of us do it subconsciously. Code switch.
Code switch.
So
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
You have
it
to
hap-
code switch.
You have to code switch.
sure.
I've been doing that with my family
sure. Yeah.
for time. I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
because
yeah,
my
yeah.
family are very, very religious as well on my mum's side,
Yeah.
as well as my
Ooh,
dad's side.
code
But
switching.
mum's side is wow. So I have to really make sure I'm careful with what I
Yeah.
say, how I say it, because I'll get caught up on it. And
Yeah.
it can be the same with the black side of my family, but specifically with the white side,
Yeah.
I do subconsciously, I do
Yeah.
code switch just to make, I guess, I don't know,
Damn.
make them.
It's hard, isn't it? Because it's like, am I doing this for them?
How are you,
or is-
mother? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Whoa.
Yes, eh. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Bless
Speak
you.
And
up.
the thing is, it is subconscious. Like, it just happens.
Damn.
It just happens. But
I never got that. I
Yeah.
was so lucky because obviously I come from the mixed race.
yeah,
so
you're, yeah.
So it's like even my cousins and everyone around me are either look like me,
Yeah.
lighter than me, darker than me, but we all family, so we all love each other the same.
yeah.
So I never got that part.
Yeah.
But I can imagine my mum and aunties and uncles
Yeah.
would have been in you lot's position, which is in hearing it is mind blowing to me.
Yeah. And when I thought about it, I was like, damn, that's strange.
That is so.
And it's
Damn.
always subconscious. Because I would never say it. Like, it's not something I would have to speak about. I'll be
Yeah.
in somebody's house like, oh, how do I wash up? No, it's just here.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just
yeah.
here. Like,
But to be fair, I was a shy kid anyway, so I would like if I would go over to someone's house, I just wouldn't do anything.
do not. I
wouldn't.
have to sit down.
Just sit down.
You touch
Just
nothing.
make sure,
Yeah,
just
you-
make sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I do nothing.
Yeah,
else.
it's a strange.
And if they
strange
asked me to,
thought.
about how do I do this, just
Yeah.
because I was so shy, I didn't want to do anything to like step on toes or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't know
There
if that was a culture thing, a racial thing, but no matter I could be in a White House, a Black House, or whatever.
I ain't do
just
nothing.
wouldn't do anything.
You know what? Saying that, yeah, there was one experience that I had when I was growing up, yeah, where you know that when you go to people's houses, like if you go to like, for me, when I go to my white friend's house, it's not really precious to go in to say hello to the parents
Right,
in the
yeah,
living
yeah.
room as such.
No.
But
this
if
is
you
the
go
thing.
into
And
a
don't
black
say hi.
This
house,
is the thing.
Bro,
You say
listen,
hello.
my brethren almost got kicked out of my cousin's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't say hello to my auntie, bruv.
Mm.
Oh, she called him in front. She heard him up in front
Oh.
of everyone.
This is
Everyone
another
and
thing.
say what?
It's
You're
another
gonna walk into
thing.
my house and not say hello. It's like, bruh,
I hear it,
I was
though.
thinking, damn.
Yeah.
I was like, normally I would just say hello anyway.
Anyway,
like,
just
going
because
to-
of
But
yeah.
you didn't think it was that deep.
But then I
Yeah.
didn't think it was that deep. But if I go into like, I don't know, like one of my brethren from school, like who I play football with, and go
Yeah.
to his house, we can just walk
Walk
into his
in and
house
go
and
to
go
their room.
straight up
Straight
into
up.
his
Yeah,
room,
yeah.
play Xbox or whatever,
Yeah.
and then his mum will come in and be like, oh, do you want anything?
Yeah.
Like, but nah, you
That's
go into
mad.
another
That's
person's
another
house.
one.
I don't know. For me,
That's
I,
exactly the
that's
same thing.
I
crazy.
felt awkward if I would walk into a house and not say hello to the people in the house because if I didn't see you an hour later in the house, I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
no,
it's
you were here.
strange. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
I've been
think
here
that-
for an hour.
That is another thing.
Yeah.
Like, because even like my white side of the family, I could just go into the house.
Bruh.
You
Yeah, I
can,
can
it's
just walk
true.
into my auntie's house. Just walk into my auntie's house.
Yeah.
No, it
usually
makes
it's
sense
open.
actually.
See, now you got to think I think that's the
I
time
thought
we're up.
knock on, yeah.
But that's a thing to think about.
But one thing though is,
Yeah.
I never got this tax. Yeah, you lot would have got the light skin tax when it was very in fashion. So
tax.
Yeah. It's
in terms
plain.
of
tax,
tax.
Jasmine, this
you
is
know
Kevin
like
going over
relationship
time.
stuff.
Tax.
If you were lighty, people wanted you. You were a lighty. There was
Really?
that.
I'm so annoying that we've run
I
out of
know.
time. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation.
I
And-
was
Like,
part
but
three
I
for
never
that.
got that part though. But there was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
2010 era where if you were
Yeah.
lighty, oh my god, you were like the most
You were
beautiful thing.
lighty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
All
had to
them
be like,
memes,
yeah.
how light you do
As-
things and stuff.
Yeah.
I just thought, bro, this is dumb. And then like,
Yeah.
obviously me being darker than a lighty, I didn't get that. The bro, but you're not light skin,
You're
you're
not
not
light,
mixed race. I just
yeah.
thought this is all dumb regardless. Like,
Yeah.
don't make
Yeah.
sense. But
Yeah.
hopefully we can do a part 3.
Yeah.
We'll
roll
bring
up
in
on
some
that.
talk
guests.
about dating being mixed race, especially with people who are white, and they say, "Oh, but yeah, that's my type."
Oh,
I
here
mean,
we
like,
go.
Oh,
Part 3 pending.
part free.
Let's do a part 3 for sure. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'd like to hear that, especially where how you lot grew up in different cities from us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd definitely be interesting to hear how that went. But yeah, thank you for coming. Did you lot enjoy it?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
That
man.
was great.
Come on.
I know this isn't
You
Kai's
know the vibes.
first pod,
Done
but
some others.
yeah, you've
I've
done some others.
A few others.
Would you go by Nicro, right?
Nicro, yes.
If they type that in on YouTube, you come up?
Yeah,
Yeah?
they should.
Or we'll put your
Definitely on Instagram.
things
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was this
With
your
the
first
accent.
pod?
This is my first.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
Oh, feel blessed and highly favored, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
No, it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming, discussing the mixed race things of life.
Yup.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you follow us at frameofmind.pod on Instagram and TikTok.
TikTok.
And
And love
Saskia?
us and leave us.